You know that feeling when you really have to pee, but you're on a long bus ride maybe, and you can go to the washroom, and then when you get off, you finally get to go, and that feeling of ah. Or maybe it's a really hot day, but there's no water anywhere around, and after hours you finally get to a cold glass of water. That feeling. Probably the best example is the moment of orgasm, you know? Because it's always like, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. And then there it goes, there it goes, there it goes. That feeling of merging when you are not there anymore. And you're having an orgasm, you're not saying like, this is it. No, it's just the experience, you're not there anymore. Before and after you're there, but in the moment you're not there. And that selfless moment is the moment of merging, of flow, when it's perfect, when you are satisfied, you got just what you wanted, that moment of satisfaction. That place I'm talking about. And we built a whole society that is structured in a way for you to have that place of satisfaction, get to that place as often as you can. You want to order something, if you subscribe now, it's not going to be there in a week, but it's going to be there in 2 days. I swear to God, we're going to get to the point where it's going to get here even before you order it. And it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Everything is designed so you get to that place of satisfaction. Everything is designed in a way for you to get what you want. And it's always about getting more. Always just a little more. If I just got that, then it would be enough. If I just get that, it would be perfect. I just need that much more. Always a next thing, you know? And what making it means in this society to be successful is that you have this place of satisfaction as often as possible. You are able to squeeze in the rushes of life so close to each other that there's no gap in between them. Let's fly to Tokyo for breakfast, and then let's buy this car, and then let's jump off that cliff, and then on it goes. And you can see it in your own life. You're always thinking about the next thing because you don't want to allow a space, a gap to happen between two rushes. And you know, when you're having dinner, what's for dessert? Do you want to go see a movie? Ooh, let's have sex. Next morning, let's have breakfast in bed. Do you want to read that book? I'm gonna make a coffee. You know, and you just squeeze in as many rushes after one another as much you can. So you never fall out of that high, the place of high. But you do. But you end up falling out anyway. And life kind of feels like this roller coaster of up and down, up and down, up and down, and always the next thing, that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it. Somehow. That's gonna do it. But after so many cycles of up and down, you start to realize the futility of your predicament. And you see that grabbing at things that are in time won't do it, because it's gonna pass. It's not gonna be able to give you lasting satisfaction. But why worry? Tomorrow the sun's gonna be out, it's gonna be toasty. I go and work, do my job, go for a hike every now and then, smoke some grass, hang out with friends. It's a nice life, it's comfortable. But there is something deep inside that yearns for something more. And you can treat it as neurosis and say that like, well, I'm neurotic and it's just weird and I'm not gonna deal with that feeling. Or you start to recognize that feeling as valid. And maybe there is something more than grabbing at things that are in time. And then you might remember a moment, it might have been just a brief second in your life when you were walking in a park and you were hearing the birds and feeling the sunshine and the ground beneath your feet. It wasn't anything special, but there was a moment of peace, of harmony. Or you were just sitting on a bench, or maybe on the bus, or maybe you were just looking at a leaf falling from the tree, and you felt certain harmony. You were conscious of the weather, of your body, of your surroundings, but you were not really busy doing something or being somebody. You were just there, present as consciousness. And when you start to treat that experience as something interesting, then you start to look at your life in a very different way, because you start to realize that that moment that I'm talking about for this whole thing, that moment of satisfaction, of merging, doesn't necessarily come through fulfilling your desires. It won't only come from that fulfilling your desires, but it can happen seemingly randomly, spontaneously, even when you're not doing anything, even when you don't want anything. It can just happen, just there it is, a moment of Imagine that you are in an office building, working there, and at 5 o'clock everybody's dismissed and thousands of people flood the street to go home. And you, to beat the rush, decide to leave a little early at 4:45, and you step out the office building and you walk down the long stairs towards the subway. And when you get to the entrance, you see a sign that says entrance closed. Please use other entrance across the street. And you look around, maybe you can sneak by, but you don't find any options, so you head back up the stairs. But by that time, it's 5 p.m. and thousands of people are coming down the stairs. And they are looking at you like you're crazy, like you're going the wrong way. What are you doing? And you can barely take a step forward because the mass of humanity that is coming from the other direction. But every now and then, there comes a person and you catch their eyes and they look at you and you tell them, the entrance is closed. The sign said, use the other entrance across the street. And they hear you, because you seem like a sober, rational person, and they hear you. But because the mass of humanity is so much that still you can barely take a step forward, and it's very hard to go against the current of humanity, because everybody around us is looking for the next experience, the next rush. Let's hang out. Let's go to the movies. Do you want to come to this party? What are you doing on this Saturday? And for you, it's becoming more and more tasteless in a way, because you see through it. And you see that it doesn't matter where you are, and it doesn't matter who you're with. What matters is what's inside you. I remember being in Costa Rica, and I was going through a very tough relationship at the time, and I couldn't see any of the beautiful trees or the ocean or the animals. I spent 2 weeks anxious and insecure and fearful and judging and in deep pain, and it didn't matter what kind of exciting experience I do, it wouldn't change what's inside me. So I realized it doesn't matter where you are, what matters is who you are. And who you are is not free at the moment, because the eye is under the mercy of the changing phenomena of your mind, of your thoughts and your emotions. And you realize that the game is not about gathering greater and greater experiences, but about becoming free. And this struggle for freedom is the foundation of our whole existence. The whole universe is a result of this struggle for freedom. All the particles are trying to fly away in their own way, but the others are keeping them in check. The earth is trying to fly away from the sun, and the moon is trying to fly away from the earth. Down from the atom to man, every insentient and sentient being is in a struggle for freedom. That is the reason why the monk sits in meditation, and that is the reason why the thief goes and steals. The monk is oppressed by the knowledge of his predicament, and so he meditates so he can be free from that predicament. And the thief is oppressed by the by not possessing, by lacking something. So he goes and steals so he can be free from that desire. Which one is morally more acceptable is a different question, but no matter where you look, everything in life is, whether consciously or unconsciously, is struggling towards freedom, to get free. And now we come back to my example about the orgasm. Because in the moment of orgasm, there's a moment of merging, a selfless moment, when you're not busy saying, this is it, you're just the experience itself. And that selfless moment seems to be the place of fulfillment, of satisfaction, and of freedom, when you're free from the self. It's interesting that no matter where you look in history, no matter what philosophy, religion, ideology you look at, the one thing that has been praised by everybody over the ages is selflessness. Seems like that's the one thing that everybody can agree on. And you realize that this selflessness is your doorway to freedom, by becoming free from the limited self and expanding yourself outward. And that is the basic foundational teaching of all religion, all philosophy, and all morality. To get rid of the little Mr. or Miss who is caught up in his or her own desires, and to take on the greater responsibility of not only acting out of my own personal desires, but being in harmony with all of humanity, all of nature, and everything around me. So I'm not so what do I want, and what do I get, and what do I desire, and whether I get it or not becomes less interesting. And what can I do? How can I help? How can I take full responsibility for the planet, for the people, becomes much more interesting. Now, this freedom from the self comes not necessarily from doing charitable work and helping others, but about not trying to control our environment. All of us are trying to control our environment in a way that fulfills us and makes us comfortable. And your life is going through a shift from trying to be in control to trying to be in harmony with nature and with other people. And that is the process that I'm talking about and I'm going through, and I could probably keep talking about it for the next 90 years if I live that long. Yeah. How to be in harmony rather than be in control.